Welcome to the presentation of the Centennial Award for the second quarter of the 2017-18 school year. For those of you who are not familiar with the Centennial Award, it was initiated last year with the sponsorship of Eckstein Shoes. Jim Kaufman graciously accepted our offer to be the name sponsor for this award. As we recognize in the 100th year of Beech Grove High School, we felt like we wanted to recognize people who have been very good to Beech Grove High School specifically and to Beech Grove City Schools generally. And we could not find two better people this time than Bruce and Elsa Bai, who are going to be the recipients for the second quarter of the school year. We thank them for coming in, and congratulations to you.
We're very honored. Thank you.
Thank you. We are very fortunate to have the Bai family in our community. You have been here for quite a while. I think we went back to, I think we mentioned before on air, 74, moved in.
Yes.
Raised your kids here, graduated your kids here, and you were a very big part. Like a lot of people, you get involved with your kids and you get involved in things that are going on with the school, but long after your kids were gone, you are still involved. I mean, yes. To this day. Elsa, we'll start with you and we'll go back and start the PTA days. You were one of the first in the PTA in terms of executive leadership. Just tell us a little bit about how the PTA evolved under your leadership here in Beech Grove.
I was a volunteer at Central Elementary, where my daughter was probably a first grader. And one of the things that I became really interested in and passionate about was a craft fair that we had. And it started out small, and we would have people, other parents, making items that we sold at around Thanksgiving and so on. And so I think that the craft fair that we have now at the high school right after Thanksgiving is a remnant of what was started with some of us doing that. When my daughter came to high school, then I became a little more active in the high school part and became a president for a couple of years and was interested in all forms of different programs that we had for children and parents. So I see that as something that I really enjoyed and got to meet parents and just more involved in the school community.
Your involvement in the school community as a PTA leader,
yes,
evolved into a seat on the school board.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit how, I'm sure the transition was fairly easy because that clearly was a passion. Nobody wants to be the PTA president for as long as you were.
No.
Unless you are really gung-ho. And you clearly were.
And maybe no one else wants to do it.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but if the job's being done well, nobody's going to step in there.
We had lots of really good helpers, and it continued on. I did respond to the response at the time before we had appointments to the school board, but the year that I decided to participate, we had elections. So that was my first entry into doing politics, and that wasn't anything that was a lot of fun, but I learned a lot and was on the school board for 4 years with Dr. Sager as superintendent.
What kinds of things did you learn on the school, other than the politics, which is sometimes politics aren't everything? What types of things did you enjoy about being on the school board? What kinds of projects and what part about that did you really, really like?
Well, I think that time that I was on school board was when they were talking about free kindergarten. And so I think Beech Grove was the first of the school districts to decide to have free kindergarten, where everywhere else they either had no kindergarten or you had to pay for half a day or whatever. Mm-hmm. At the time that I was on school board, I was also getting an administrative license because I'm also an educator in my background, high school. And it was very educational for me to sit in on the types of things that a school board does legally and in other ways that it was helpful to my courses that I was taking.
That's good. Sometimes those meetings get a little long though, right?
They do.
And it is, I know my dad served on the school board when we were growing up, and I think he learned a lot about that. He learned a lot about politics, I know that, but it is definitely, I know he felt like it was a rewarding experience, and I'm sure you did as well. Now, some of that good help you had on the PTA is sitting to your left, I bet.
Yes.
And Bruce, you grew up through the PTA as well, you said, and we still see you around a lot. Sometimes I think you're on staff. You have been a big part in a lot of things here, and I just learned before we went on air, I know you're very big into the marching band and that scene, and we have the Cavaliers come in, and you're the brains behind that. Tell us a little bit about prior to present, back in the, just relate the story you told me about the band uniforms, and that would be a good story to relate.
I was a member of PTA in middle school, and then when our son, who's 5 years younger than our daughter, started in high school, we became active in the Band Parent Association. And I was elected president the second year, the year that he was a sophomore, and then was president of the Band Parents Association for 3 years. But during that sophomore year, the Parent Association was faced with the challenge of raising enough money to be able to buy new uniforms, and new uniforms had not been purchased for something like 23 or 24 years. And uniforms cost $40,000. And the school board said that they would match and pay for half if we were able to raise $20,000. But the band performance for that competitive season also had expenses of between $9,000 and $10,000. So what that meant was that if we were going to do everything, we needed to be raising $30,000. And we, as a parent association, did a variety of things, and we accomplished our goal. And the major source of funding for that came from parents and students working many hours on weekday evenings at what was the Ayers warehouse. And the agreement that we had with Ayers was that they would pay us $5 an hour, and we earned enough worked enough hours that we earned something between $13,000 and $14,000 from the Ellis Ayers warehouse. And then with also work that was done at the RCA Dome at the time, and then we also had a couple of flower sales, and we were short by about $2,000, and the Promoters Club and the Lions Club kicked in to have us reach our goal of $30,000.
And then from there, the board did a match, right?
The board did the match, and that's when we were able to buy new uniforms, and the band had new uniforms for the first time in many years.
And from what I understand, that evolved into a foundation, and you were one of the people behind the start of the foundation. Tell us how the Beech Grove Foundation, kind of the embryo, if you will, was kind of developed at that point with that thought in mind.
The Beech Grove Education Foundation came about through some groundwork that was laid by Jerry King, Jim Hensley, and myself. And after we had earned the $30,000, we stepped back and said, quite frankly, this about killed us. And I'm not sure we can do this. And we don't want to have other parent associations having to go through what we had gone through. So how do we make this more workable in the future? And so we started investigating a community foundation because of Jerry King being familiar with foundations out in the state of California. And he had a friend that had operated a community foundation, talked with us. And so we worked for about a year and a half and ended up making the recommendation to have our formation of the foundation be a part of the Johnson County Community Foundation, because you need administration, you need a structure, you need reporting responsibilities. And we made that proposal to Dr. Showalter, he looked at it and said, you know what, I think I can rearrange resources and we need to start our own Beech Grove Education Foundation. And so the legal framework was set up based on the work that we had done. And a year after that, the Lilly Endowment Organization made a match offer to all school corporations in Marion County to match. If they raised $500,000, they would match the $500,000. Lilly Endowment was looking at that from the standpoint that decisions for funding of various school programs and activities is best made at the local level. And so they said they would match those funds. We were one of 2 school corporations in Marion County to raise the $500,000. A lot of that credit goes to former Mayor Gifschweiler, who was involved in contacting organizations and was able to reach that goal. So that raised the amount for the foundation to $1 million. And then we had the Indianapolis Foundation down at the English Foundation said that if we would allow them to manage the funds, they would give us an additional $250,000. And so that first year when we started with the foundation, we started with a fund of $1,250,000, and those funds continue to earn funds for the benefit of our Beech Grove School Corporation.
It's an interesting story, and I'm learning something as we go here. More recently, and something I'm more familiar with, is the ag program here at the high school. Dad follows up. If I remember correctly, you're an Elanco guy. Okay, so this feeds, like the school board feeds our school administrator, the ag program feeds the Elanco man. Tell us about how much work it was to get it started working with, I think I know the answer to some of these questions, but we're going to do it anyway. How much work you had to do on twisting Dr. Kaiser's arm to implement this program, and just it has evolved beyond, frankly, our wildest imagination. I mean, it's just been, again, it's been great people taking care of it, but
right.
Again, you're here a lot for the ag as well.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how that, what was the seed for that, and how that happened.
I had the opportunity to work for a very good company, E.I. Lilly and Company, and their agriculture division is known as Elanco. And we have medications for production livestock. Elanco itself as a brand actually stands for E.I. Lilly and Company, E-L-A-N-C-O. And so it's the brand on the agricultural products. So having grown up on a farm and being familiar with the FFA organization, I knew that there were many benefits for students involved in this program. And when Dr. Kaiser talked with me in the fall of 2011, he commented that he wanted to be able to start a science academy. And I commented to him, if you're going to start a science academy, why not also include agriculture science? And he said, work with me and let's make this happen. And so we had an organization meeting in mid-January of 2012. And I worked closely with the individuals at Purdue University, took some good advice. Their comment was, if you're going to do this, you get all the people that are involved in agriculture education in the state of Indiana around the table at the very same time from the very beginning. And so I gathered together 13 individuals in the state of Indiana who have worked with agriculture education. And we met with another 12 or 13 individuals from Beech Grove Schools on January 13th, 2012. And we formed 2 subcommittees, one that related to facilities, staffing, and curriculum, and another subcommittee that looked at publicity, communications, recruitment. And 2 months later, after having worked closely with the strong support of our counselors, we had 150 students in the high school enrolled in an agriculture education class. And the decision was made by the superintendent that general science in the 8th grade would be changed to agriculture science because it fit very nicely with students being able to identify different kinds of careers and help them in their selection of a career path. And so with a few modifications, general science was changed to agriculture science. That had 220 eighth graders. And so the first year we started the program with 370 agriculture education students and 3 agriculture education teachers. The next year it grew because of word of mouth by the students. The students were the biggest promoters and advocates for the program. The students' numbers grew the following year so that we could have 4 teachers. And I think last year there were something like 495 students enrolled in agriculture education classes. And also because of the excellent teachers that we have and the work that they do, there is enough money earned, and through the support also of the advisory board, that students and the FFA organization in Beech Grove do not have to take any money out of their pocket to be able to attend National FFA Convention, State FFA Convention, leadership conferences, and the variety of leadership development activities that are available for our members. They can invest, we do not want to have those funds or lack of funds to be a barrier. And so it has been a very positive program. The students continue to be highly involved in it. We see many positive benefits of students having been participating in the program. I'm continued to be president of the advisory board. We have 15 individuals that meet on 3 times a year in support of the program here at Beech Grove.
It was, I made a half-jokey comment about twisting the superintendent's arm. It didn't take much twisting. It is, and it continues to grow. It continues to grow. It is, look back to the 12-13 school year, and it seems almost elementary compared to what it is now. It's really taken off, and it's well established, and the students now don't know anything different.
The FFA has really transformed that it is agriculture science. It is plant science, animal science, natural resources, food science. We know we do not have any farms here in Beech Grove. The students are able to recognize and prepare for the different kinds of careers that relate to the science of agriculture. And because it's a hands-on course and practical applications, students have an easier time in actually learning scientific principles. And that's part of the reason that they're able to excel in these classes.
And some of the auxiliary things that come from that, like a lot of our special needs students get to do some things back there. We have the learning garden, which is really looking nice now. Yes. There's just a lot. That's why I mean it's more than an agriculture program. It is being used throughout the school for a lot of different things. I mean, although it wasn't a whole lot, we were raising our own food for the cafeteria one day. Yeah. But I mean, it's just amazing some of the things that's done from that program. And again, I know you're a major force in that, and you should be congratulated for that.
Well, we put in the time, and it's offering the opportunities for the students. And the students that get involved in this will soon realize they get so much more out of it than compared to what they put into it. That we're looking at their being able to identify meaningful interest areas for themselves. It makes no difference that they go on to school and involved with agriculture or not. Everything that they are involved with, all the way from public speaking skills to understanding how to work through critical thinking, they are able to develop those skills that are transferable to anything that they choose to do. So there's a lot of benefits of the students being involved.
And there certainly are. And again, it's another opportunity here at the high school. I think this high school is full of opportunities for kids to do things outside the classroom. Right. I mean, we're sitting in a studio right now with a student taking our picture that wouldn't have happened 5 or 6 years ago because of the work of people like you. Right. Probably, in my experience, the first encounter I had with the by name was the By Family Scholarship. And to me, that is a very special thing. Anytime we are providing scholarship money for worthy students, and the people you select are very worthy, yes. of an opportunity to have a better chance at a secondary education, you got to love that. And yours is, and I don't know who's talking, Elsa or Bruce, but I like, obviously any scholarship's great, but one of the things I like about you always involve the parents as well. The parents are a part of it, and I think that makes it even more special. So I don't care which way we're going to go, Elsa, Bruce, however you want, just talk about the evolution of that scholarship, the kind of the groundwork that was laid on that, and how that's evolved to just a really neat thing.
It has. It evolved from, as you can tell, our passion for helping students and rewarding them for the work that they do. And so this award, which we do not select the person, but there's a formula that the committee, that you all have, but it's rewarding the students for their participation and representing the high school in athletics, and then also being highly ranked, have a high index and also class rank. So it's based on that. And Bruce and other people on the committee have worked on how they're selected. You could maybe tell a little more about that, or?
Well, yeah. It's basically 50% participation in athletic events. And students do not have to earn a varsity letter. It is participation from at the beginning of a sports season. And completing. And it's cumulative from freshman year. And it takes into account both academics as well as participation in representing Beech Grove High School. And then we're honored to be able to recognize the outstanding male and female scholar athlete by giving them a $2,000 scholarship each. And then also we recognize the top 10 in each class as scholar athletes. And so that came about with work that we had with Mr. Banks, who had proposed a way to be able to broaden the interest and support and recognition of this. We happened to add to the endowment fund so that we could increase the amount of the scholarship. And we said at the same time, what else can we do to recognize students in freshman, sophomore, and junior? And so we designed a special pin that is given to those award recipients. They're able to wear that on their letter jacket or however they choose. And so it is a pleasure each year to be able to recognize 40 students, 10 in each class, who are the scholar athletes for that year.
And it is, and there are pictures up on the wall for the whole year. It is really, it is, again, because of your family, because of you two, it's something that's unique to Beech Grove. There are a lot of schools that would just, I know personally, would just kill to have something like that and have donors like that.
I think this is like maybe the 19th year that we've done this.
I was going to say,
it's close to 20.
I was going to say, it's right up there.
Is it?
It's been a good while, and again, it's evolved. In the beginning, we didn't have, it was just the 2 students, and this way, I mean, and I think that if a student needed some extra incentive, I think that provide, well, there's only 10 of us, I'm in the top 10,
Yeah.
and especially with the younger kids, they need those incentives, and this provides that for them.
Good.
It's really a great thing, and Mr. Banks gave you some great advice there.
Right.
He doesn't do that often, but in this case, he got it done. I think if you've been watching, you can tell that Mr. and Mrs. Bai have done so much for this school, this corporation, what they have done throughout the years to make Beech Grove High School and Beech Grove City Schools a great place for our kids is probably unparalleled. So again, on behalf of Jim Kaufman and Eckstein Shoes, I want to present you with that.
Thank you.
And thank you for everything you have done for our school corporation and our high school, and continue to do. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Elsa. Thank you very much. And we'll be back in about 3 months with another Centennial Award winner, another individual group, organization that has been very influential in the development of Beech Grove City Schools and Beech Grove High School. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.